This method is not limited to any specific chakra, specific point in the body, specific idea or belief, specific chord or entity or emotion. It is it is a technique in which can heal anything. It can reveal any falsehood within you. And thus it is a very individual practice for each of us to practice it in this individual way so that we can reveal within ourselves what is simply taking part in our field of view in this moment that looks for our attention. Some idea, some belief, some trigger, some emotion, some opportunity, some situation, some relationship. It is all simply revealing more and more of ourselves. And so this method brings the opportunity again and again back to the moment, back to what's specifically arising within the body, so that we can see what are the initial arising ideas that we have around this specific thing, for one. And I'm going to pull up a specific diagram that I created a little while ago for those that download the free mini course that I've done. We went into this diagram in depth, so you can go and watch that 2-hour course. But I will bring up this diagram here. And this diagram is a more complex version of a very simple process that we do every time we sit here. Every time we're doing any authentic self-inquiry, every time we're bringing ourselves into ourselves, naturally we are going to be brought into this in a very simple way. And so this process that we're outlining here, it reveals the layers of the onion that we move through when we're moving through this self-inquiry, self-awareness, self-realization process. The process of coming to know ourselves at the core. So naturally we will perceive an object of attention, generally externally to us in our holographic projection that will be a person, place, or thing. Some situation that reveals to us our subconscious habitual reactions, judgments, perceptions, and triggers. Number 2. These happen very effortlessly, really. So effortless how the subconscious triggers arise. We don't have to do anything. They just bring themselves to us. And as they bring themselves to us, naturally we see how quickly the triggers arise and the reactivity of our subconscious and how it comes forth. And so this reactivity is what guides us deeper. It guides us deeper into ourselves to reveal what is the source of these habitual reactions and judgments we have. Generally, they're going to be having to do with past or future, past situations in which are triggering future fears, relating to some trauma or some energy held deeply within the body. Sometimes it's manifested as a mental issue. Sometimes it's manifested as even a physical issue, as the last-ditch effort for consciousness to reveal itself to us and to show itself and say, hello, I need you to pay attention to me. So we can listen to our body, listen to what the mind is revealing to us, listen to our emotions and what they're pointing to, listen to in a very deep and authentic way, so that we can see, okay, this is what it's revealing to us. And naturally, the thoughts and feelings come simultaneously in number 4 and 5. These are our perceptions, the conscious thoughts we're having, the feelings we're having around this energy, which is generally going to be placed somewhere in the body. And this is the process of identification, where through this process of awareness, where we're identifying the trigger points in the body, where they physically come up, generally in the gut, sometimes in the solar plexus or in the heart. These are the trigger points within the body that are asking for our attention. And this is how we travel down and through the onion layer. It's as if we have this ball of energy. And this ball of energy, this onion, we're laser pointing ourselves to the source. We're feeling through all of the layers that the specific energy reveals within us. It's a very powerful practice because we're revealing the truth. We're revealing the light. And so as we travel deeper through, we begin to connect back to the awareness in which is always viewing anyways. And we can see that naturally all of these steps can happen almost simultaneously. And the more we practice, naturally the quicker it becomes. And the more ever-present this becomes, where this whole diagram is not just a revealing of a practice, it is a revealing of the way of being. It is a revealing of the layer of consciousness in which we're perceiving from, ongoingly, moment to moment, day to day. And so as we rest in this pure and silent awareness, naturally, this is where we become to get to know. We become intimate with ourselves, intimate with the light of ourselves, the light of this awareness, where awareness begins to turn upon itself, where the objects of attention, meaning the perception of some person outside of us, or our ideas and judgments about them, or the feelings and triggers that we've had about the situation that were revealed through this, all of this is not so much of an interest any longer, when we're authentically looking to see what is the truth in the moment. Because we're authentically looking to connect with ourselves. We're authentically looking to connect with the depth of ourselves from the perception of awareness itself. So, of course, this is where we meet ourselves in the most beautiful way. This is where we're dropping everything. We're dropping all the ideas, all the thoughts, all the feelings, and we're practicing this intensity, a very tenacious focus. And as I revealed many times before, it is inside the majority of our groups, whether in Universal Awakening, in the Awaken group, or just on my main page, where you can go and access all the free gifts and courses, it will reveal the same method. The method of affirming, the affirming practice, which is the practice of feeling into all of these emotions, right? Feeling into the entirety of what's arising within our body, affirming what is arising, not denying it, affirming it with a deep sense of love and compassion. And naturally, through this affirming, through this embrace, this is where we traverse down through the layers, where naturally we will come to a denial, where we recognize that what we were affirming, we were validating, but it doesn't mean it's true. To validate someone's emotions does not mean their emotions are true, or within ourselves, to validate our own emotions does not mean they are true. It means that they are valid. It is okay that we're feeling this way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's justified from a place of consciousness, from a place of truth. Because many times these emotions are coming from the pushing or pulling, from the identification with the false self, the identification with the egoic, the lower egoic mind. And so this is the process of inevitably denying what is untrue. Right? We deny what is untrue because, of course, as we would deny, why we deny what is untrue, we see, I am not this, I am not that. We perceive from a vantage point of true consciousness. We see that I am only truly this pure, untouched, unscathed source energy, this pure awareness in which is within all, existing as all, manifesting all, and collapsing all. This is the power and potential of coming to truth, where we rest in this source. This is awakening. This is self-realization in the simplest of lookings, the simplest of pointings in a logical way through this diagram. And through the experiential practice that we have just all done together. Right? An experiential practicing of coming to rest in your being, and we can all do this now ongoingly. Where we connect in with the heart of hearts, we connect in with the sense of ourselves, and which is always there, always connected, always available. It is the vantage point by which we're perceiving all of the moving thoughts, feelings, and sensations of confusion, of frustration, of joy, of happiness, of peace, of contentment, of boredom, of apathy, and all of the corresponding thoughts that come with that. This is the vantage point in which all of that is perceived and all of that is consumed. Because all of where that has come from the same source, where you're perceiving from, this vantage point of simple perception, simple awareness, and it is also where it will come back to and dissolve. So this famous quote that many people share around in memes and such, this too shall pass. Well, everything shall pass. Everything shall naturally arise from you, and everything shall naturally pass back into you. And this is, in essence, what we will come to know through the consequences of our actions. Right? The consequences of how we act, how we think, how we feel. Because we're on one unified field of source energy, naturally everything we think, everything we feel, everything that we act upon, everything we speak will ripple back to us. And so whatever is coming through us, naturally the only duty is to surrender, so that we can not slow that process down of inevitably what is coming to us to be faced. And of course, the practice of dying before you die, which is awakening, ascending into the true self, embodying the true self, is of course the process of passing through Judgment Day, which will come at the moment of death before it comes. The reason why so much religious scripture has caused so much fear is because it naturally many times is not presented the direct methods in which we come to resolve that fear by facing our own evil, our unrighteousness in our actions, our words, our thoughts, our feelings. Though if we have the methods, if we have the intention, if we have the source and the guidance from within, that naturally can point us in the direction of how do we come to reconcile and forgive and have gratitude and appreciation for the moments that have passed, that we may have not always acted in the perfection of light, and thus have another opportunity to further refine our actions within the perception of light, within the perception of righteousness, of treating another as we would desire to be treated, to see the self in all. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, is yourself. And we come back to this over and over and over and over and over again. Coming back to connect with the true self, coming back to connect with what is true in every moment, and how do we dissolve what is false within us and bring to light what is now deemed false, and act in alignment with true integrity and the true way.